situation d'évaluation. Je sais, il y a beaucoup de pression, il y a beaucoup de monde qui veut savoir la solution que l'homme. Mais normalement, on aura des élections presque 2-3 semaines. Période de marché, mercato, c'est pas encore commencé. Donc, pour moi, le plus important, c'est que moi et tout le monde qui s'implique dans les décisions qui viennent pour le club, c'est qu'on est complètement au courant. Il ne faut pas faire des décisions à cause de pression. Il ne faut pas faire les décisions avec émotion. Il faut évaluer tout le chose. Il faut comprendre la situation financière. Il faut comprendre les avis des comités, des joueurs, des adhérents, des supporters, du public. L'analyser et décider après. Oui, tout le monde. Non, j'ai parlé avec Hamoud, j'ai parlé avec Amelidir, j'ai parlé avec tout le monde. Mehdi Beled, Hamid Mbarak, Sami El-Kadi, même Haïkel au basket, Oussama Salemi. Comme j'ai dit, des adhérents, des supporters, tout le monde. Les résultats, oui. On verra. On verra. I'm humbled by it, and I hope I'm able to earn that. I think I'm going to say this in English. I think what qualifies me to be in a position to help evaluate and restructure the team is that I just don't have any other agenda besides us being a successful sporting organization and winning, and the people being happy. Yes. And treating our fans and our players with respect. It's all I want. And there's no political objective I could have. I don't need to make a lot of money. I'm not going to make a lot of money with the club. I have no ulterior motives, and I'm open to listening to everybody. So from that perspective, I don't have to be a genius. I don't have to be an expert in football. I'm not deciding who's taking a penalty kick and what the selection's going to be and what drills they're going to do in the youth section. I'm trying to be a major part of putting a team and a business structure together for the years to come that's adaptable to the future and that can make it a successful club and inshallah to make a model for other clubs in this country as the country adapts to a changing economics and a changing world of sport. As I've said, if I have confidence in the people who are running the club, if I have confidence that the will of the public is being respected, and if I have confidence that there is a way for the club to support itself financially going forward. Because I don't want to create a system where I'm just pumping money in and then we spend all the money and we get in debt again and then we pump more money in. I think it's important to create a structure where both those who are investing in the club and the club itself are able to take advantage of the fact that there's an enormous potential for revenues based off of the recognition of Club Africain. Again, that doesn't mean that the emphasis is on profit, right? Even as an individual, I'm not somebody who's driven by profit. And I think that the heart of the association is about a whole lot more than that. But we have realities that we function in a marketplace, and we can't simply hope that people are going to come in and throw money into it. So I think there's a lot of ways for the club to be more efficient. And that's what it comes down to, is to be more efficient for those who would support the club and for the club itself. And those who sort of play both roles. Because I'm not the only one who I think plays both roles to some extent. A promise? Yes. No, I don't have a promise. Other than that, I'm really trying my hardest to listen to what everybody's concerns are, and to do my best to get through what I say, I mentioned playing dirty, right? I think that sometimes people play a little dirty, and I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in being completely transparent. I think the public actually does deserve to know what's going on internally when things aren't functioning well. And I think they deserve to be a part of that decision making. So my promise is to continue to be transparent and to try my very best to help make this an efficient club and a very successful club. If all the other elements of the club are willing to work with us in that project, then I promise to stick around. If I'm not wanted, I won't. But it really comes down to that. I'm not really levying threats. I'm not saying, oh, you need to give me this or I go. It really comes down to that. Am I wanted? Is the solution that we're offering wanted? If so, then we're here for it. And that I can promise. Yeah, he's part of the team that we're working with right now. In this evaluation period, again, everything is transitionary because the bureau resigned, and I think it's very clear that while the Comité des Sages holds an important role, I don't think people have confidence that they should be really directing everything that happens right now. And so it was sort of unclear, well, who is, right? I mean, Samuel Kadi is a member of the bureau, the previous bureau, but he's also acting president of a section that just won a championship and is competing for a cup on Friday. So I think to some extent he's obviously a big part of what's going on still. Mohamed As-Sahli came in and we hired him to be part of our evaluation team. So he's a big part of what's going on. And so are a lot of the folks around the club. Yeah, so he is part of that, but nothing is permanent until we get to that next step. We have a General Assembly. We have decisions that will be made about what a permanent bureau looks like, at least for the next few years, and what a permanent staff is going to look like. Right now, everything is evaluation. There's no reason to be married to anything because we don't have to be. And I think it's time to look at both how can we build on the success of the last season. As I've said before, we have a talented team. There's a lot of talent. And I'm talking about football right now, of course. We have a very talented team. I don't think there's a question about that. Maybe we're a couple pieces short of where we want to be, but it's not a situation where we need 10 new players, right? I think it's a different kind of mentality and a different kind of structure behind it and more efficiency. So it's a combination of keeping our momentum going without blowing everything up, while making sure that we're able to make the long-term changes that need to be made. Maybe that means that there are statutes that need to be changed over the next year or so while we work with what we have right now. I don't think it's ideal. I don't think that having a situation where only people that have spent X amount of time with the club can be in positions of leadership with the club. I think that when you have an organization that's not going well, it's not a good idea to have a rule that says only people who have spent a long time at the organization that's not doing well can run that organization. It doesn't make sense, among other things. But I think we can work with some of the really capable people who are a part of the club right now to making the club better for next year, and at the same time try to adapt the situation for the future. So everybody's going to celebrate that, and I was happy and proud to celebrate it with everyone who was there.
It isn't a good hug.
What's that?
It isn't a good hug.
What do you mean?
Not a real hug.
I think there was more than one hug. Man, people take candid photos. I could be moving from here to there and my eyes blink and it looks like I'm going like, at one moment I look like that, the next moment I look like that. And, that's فرجي meant this. I mean, man, people take things out of context. It was just a moment of celebration. There were a lot of things going on in my life at the same time. It was incredibly exciting. I'm still wearing the shirt. So, I was hugging everybody on the floor, man. And we had a conversation after. And I think, look, from my perspective, I think I've been clear about issues that I've had about how the club's been run for a long time and how it was run this year. Does it mean that I wish for this person to to have his name tarnished. No, I think everybody in the bureau can leave gracefully and should be respected going forward, and that's it. We just need to make some changes. Neither. I came to Tunis because, well, for a number of reasons, but among them, my best friend who I grew up with in Brooklyn is a professor who's lived here for 12 years. The first night I got here in November 2023, I went out to dinner with him, and his good friends here, who are now my good friends here, are clubis. And they talked to me about the club, and they showed me the tifos for Gaza, and I said, wow, this is cool. I'm going to get interested in this while I'm here. And I watched, and I went to Radis, and I became a fan of the club. Later on, I met Hamoura because I went to a cafe that his wife went to every day. And it happened that, wow, he was the president of this club. But the first time I even had, once I got into the club, I had discussions with my friends and understood that there were financial difficulties. At first, I didn't know the association rules, right? So I thought, man, maybe we could buy this club and fix it up. No, you can't buy a club in Tunisia. Okay, maybe we can do something about it. Everybody said, it's complicated. Maybe you don't want to get involved like that. But then later on, we were contacted because I think people knew that I was somebody who was interested in sports, who was interested in development and investment in sport in this country. I had even made it known to the ministry. I'd made it known to other people who were in different kinds of sports business, gyms, clubs, that I was interested in that, and everyone knew that I liked Club Africain. So when there was suddenly a financial need for Club Africain, people who worked for me were contacted by people from the club. And we had that conversation. I think my relationship with the Ben Amars was really more of a personal one, and they preferred to keep that separate from business. So I don't even know if he, would have implicated me in that way. But I came to the club from, some friends of mine who live in Kram. Some of them are from Karambelia. Some of them used to be ultras. Some of them are professors now. Normal people, like people I grew up with when I rooted for the New York Mets. Fans of the club who showed me the energy that they had. Who showed me the connection with the club to the Palestinian issue. The Palestinian issue being, again, one of the reasons that I left my country. So this meant a lot to me, and it was from literally the first day I came here. It was one of the first conversations I had was about this football team. It was my friend whose name is Emna, not to be confused with another Emna, but it was a friend of mine called Emna and her husband Ayman, who first spoke to me about it. Yeah. A friend of mine whose name is Emna and her husband Ayman spoke to me about the club, and a couple other friends of theirs. Those were the first to talk to me about it. Yeah.